Cosmic Conversations. I'm your host, Marla Martenson, and I have a very special guest today, something really cosmic and exciting. Her name is Oriah Mirza, and Oriah is going to tell you about herself, but I will say the reason we're here is because Oriah posted a post on Facebook recently about her being a starseed and connected with the stars and the star family, and just shared about her experience with that. And it kind of went viral, and all of a sudden she had thousands of people commenting and wanting more. And now she's doing Zoom calls on Saturdays. People are asking her to help with coaching to help them through this, and sharing, and she's doing phenomenal videos on YouTube. So I thought, wow, this is just so amazing, especially during these strange times that we're going through, that a lot of people feel a lot of heaviness. Oriah is bringing this lightness right from the stars into us. So Oriah, welcome.
Thank you so much, Marla. Thank you so much.
Yeah, tell everybody a little bit about you and who you are, and we're going to talk about some interesting subjects today.
Okay. Well, my husband and I have been shamans. My husband's Oriah Mirza, and I have, we've been shamans for 10 years, and we live in Malibu. And so, we post all the time, and we're always encouraging people. But I had this moment one night. It was kind of like, we're in lockdown, so it's kind of boring, and we're just like laying around. And I was messing with a picture, and I'm an artist. I like to do graphics. And I was having fun with a selfie I took. And it was just one of those moments where I'm not thinking about anything. And I decided, I said, what would happen if I put that I'm a Palladian? Because I am a Palladian, and I know I am. So what if I just put Palladian across the bottom of this picture and just post it and see what happens? I mean, nobody ever cares about anything I hardly post anyway. So I didn't think about it. So I posted it. And within 3 or 4 days, there was close to 400 comments. And people, there was a majority, there would be about 60% of the people wanted to know what their starseed lineage was. And then there were some people who already knew and were saying hi to me, hi, I'm from Sirius, or I'm from Orion. And I was just amazed. And then there was other people who didn't know what we were talking about, and they wanted more information. So I said to myself, well, wait a minute. I've been spending, 10 years trying to help people and encourage people in their lives. And all of a sudden, just through the Starseed conversation, I realized people were very interested. So I looked deeper into it, and I realized with the state of affairs of everything that's happening on the planet right now, people are kind of wanting to go off planet. They want to take a break mentally, emotionally, spiritually. They just want to see beautiful things and nice things, and they want to talk about other things. So I said, I'm just going to open a group so we can have this all in one place, because the comments were going on, and I was responding. So I said, let's just put a group together and see what happens. I put the group together. In 2 weeks, I've had over 12,000 comments and likes and views, and I have about 400 active members, which is unusual because, if you have 300 people, usually just a few of them are talking to you, but or if you have 3,000 or 30,000, but everybody's involved, and they're saying, what's different about this group? It's so different. And what it is that we genuinely want to really share and understand who we are in our star lineage. So I've had interviews with people just like you're interviewing me. I've talked to astrologers, and I'm talking to a metaphysician right now. We have a series, and I've been doing a lot of how-to videos, and it just keeps going and going. And what the message I'm getting is people are, especially the empaths and people who are very sensitive. I mean, there's a lot to handle in the world right now. So people are let me just pull back. I need to step into a different vortex. I need to look at myself from a different paradigm. I can't just be looking at myself what's happening with this pandemic, what's happening with the news, and how it's affecting me and my family and the kids. It's just too much. So that's how this came to be. And it was so perfect for me to segue right into talking about starseeds. So I've had to brush up and really get familiar again with all of the different starseeds. I'm still learning a lot, and people are joining in and on chat rooms, and they're giving their own interpretations, and it's just a lot of sharing. So it's been really great. I'm so happy about what's happening.
It's amazing. I see this as a whole new spiritual side gig for you, or career.
It totally is. It might become the main gig, actually.
Now I'm going to pull us a card, and I'm going to give my interpretation of it, and Oriah is going to give her interpretation of it.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. So
wait, let's see the cover. I want to see the cover again. That was
Yeah,
such a cool
it's this
cover.
the Starseed Oracle. It comes in this there's a top to it, but it
Yeah.
comes in a beautiful box where you can, I mean, when I saw this, it was just amazing. So, oh my God, this is perfect. Just what you were saying. Empathic Starseed. Energetic sovereignty, absorbing what's not yours. Look at this. Okay, so this is a beautiful card. So it's
Ooh,
exactly what Oriah was
I got
saying.
chills. Oh my God.
He was talking about empathic people, and we
Right.
are empathic starseeds. So we're taking in all of this, the news. Talk a little. Okay, we'll give your interpretation of this card, and then talk a little bit about how us empath
Right.
people and starseeds are affected by all of this constant barrage of negativity that we're.
Exactly. Well, first of all, there's many layers going on to what's happening in the world, because there are people that are awakening in different stages. So there's people who don't know they're empaths yet. So I want to address them first. There's people that are awakening and they're realizing there's something going on the planet, and they're trying to figure out what it is. And they don't know why the systems are breaking down. They don't know why there's so much chaos, and they think it's like the end of the world. They're looking to outside means to get information. So that's one. And then there's people who kind of suspected this all along and had a feeling that, it was time for a change, and they're starting to have an awakening or an ascension. And as that is starting to occur, they're realizing how sensitive they are and how they can read into things, and they're feeling further out than they ever anticipated. Also, they're receiving a lot of internal messages. So a lot of ear ringing is going on, a lot of palpitations, different kinds of like body things are happening, weird influxes of energy. You'll have big highs and then crashing down lows. Well, you need to be in bed. And those are all ascension symptoms where you are kind of stepping out of the matrix of what you thought. So empaths, everyone can be an empath. Everybody is an empath. It's just if you know you're an empath. So that's different. If you completely understand you're an empath and have information about what an empath is already, you are like either white knuckling right now through this, or you are helping others get through it. So if you don't know you're an empath is somebody who literally, like a sponge, you take everything in, you feel every single thing. Like you feel like if your cat kills a mouse or a bird, you feel horrible for that cat or for the bird. You feel so bad, but even though you know the cycle of life, but you just feel every little thing. So imagine like how empaths are responding to the state of affairs right now. So empaths are really going through it. So those of us who have been in the empathic journey for a very long time, we kind of build it's kind of like a very cushioned room for other people to step in, so we can calm the system down and help people to understand it's okay to feel what you're feeling, but you don't need to take it on. You don't need to take it in, like what the card is saying. You don't need to, you can understand it, you can feel it to a certain extent, but it doesn't have to change your core beliefs. It doesn't have to rock your world all the way, because from the beginning of time, since the planet has birthed, there has been chaos and ruckus and wars and insanity and violence. And it was probably worse because there was barbarianism and there was people killing each other like the Wild West. You go into a bar, and if you get in a fight, you shoot somebody right there on the spot. And at least, it's slowed down a bit, So the other thing I wanted to mention that I think is very important for people who are still not convinced that everything is okay, because when you look out there in the world and the news, and you see what's happening, it doesn't feel okay. I want you to imagine you're going to go into your bedroom and you haven't cleaned your room in a long time, and it's time to do a purge, right? So you're going to pull all the drawers out, you're going to take all the clothes out, you're going to get everything from under the bed, you're going to take all the sheets off the bed, you're going to change the curtains, you're going to pull everything, and you're going to put it in the center of the room. And then you're going to assess, and then you're going to look, what do I need? What do I don't need? What's valuable? What's not? Clean and disinfect. Everything is going into the pile so everyone can see. We have the internet, so everybody is viewing what's happening. So people are turning on their news and they're like, we're finding out the transparency of the White House, the transparency of the monetary system, the transparency of Wall Street, the transparency of this and that and this, and everyone is looking deep into the core, right? So you want to go deep, you can go deep. You can keep going all the way to reptilian and alien agendas if you want to. You can go as far out as you want to go because creation is vast. So you're going to find out a lot. Now imagine just little old you sitting there. There's just one of you. And you're trying to take on the conversation of the universe, like everything in it. Could you imagine how much data that is? That is too much to sift through for any normal human being. So it's like you clean your bedroom out, then you clean everyone else's bedroom out, like cleaning the whole neighborhood's bedroom out. It's a lot. So you have to give yourself a lot of compassion. You have to give yourself a deep, deep breath and understanding that this is a process. It's a divine process. It's all in process. The goal is that everything comes to the surface so that we can take care of it and we can help each other. It's not a cleansing. This is, I mean, I said the word cleansing, but it's not a cleansing like something's wrong, we have to go disinfect it, because that sounds a little holy, like holier than thou. We're going to come in and disinfect what's dirty. This is an evolution. So people are starting to understand that certain things and certain behaviors are not okay. And we're all coming together to find solutions in better ways. And my last little thing I want to say about this card, and I'm so glad you pulled it, and I can't even believe it was an empathic card. I have so much to say on empathy, is when you see people fighting and arguing over causes, including starseeds, including healers, check yourself and really pay attention to what you're doing, because are you going to be a part of the problem or a part of the solution? So if you're a part of the solution, your job is to step back and hold space and to create positive environments. So Marla's creating a positive environment. I'm creating a positive environment. My husband's creating part, and all the different healers are creating positive environments so others can come in and find solace and peace. So those of you who are kind of like, you know, clicking by and you found this show, just realize it's not people trying to avoid or get away from reality. There's some misconception that because we have airy fairy colors and we have beautiful cards, that means we don't want to face what's happening on CNN or what's happening in the White House. It has nothing to do with that. We're actually very aware what's happening, to the point where we're offering each other glasses of water, fruit punch, cake slices. Here, have a fruit punch, have a lollipop. Here, sit down. We want to create this beautiful feeling so people can take a break. That's all that this is.
Yes, there's so much fake news out there too. It's like, they want us to, I don't watch CNN. It's, for me, it's chronic negative news. It's constant.
Or any of the news channels.
Any of them, right? So that one you mentioned. But yes, it's just constant bad news, fear, fear, fear. And if we watch, we want to be informed. We want to find out what's going on. But I think it's overloading, especially for empaths. We're like, oh my God, this is so, and a lot of it doesn't come to pass, or it's not true, or they're just trying to get ratings. So we got to be very discerning there, right? And
and that could be very frustrating and high anxiety to go to one news site and then you read one thing and you believe it, and then you find out 3 or 4 other different sources are telling you that this is all agenda and propaganda, blah, blah, blah. And here's the good news about all this. It starts off as anxiety. You get stressed out listening to this. But if you really follow the breadcrumbs and you follow the trail, what this is leading you to is having your own self-discovery, and you're learning to really think outside the box and find yourself in a new, what we call paradigm. So you can find yourself standing in new pastures. You don't have to be in the same box you were in before, where everything you read and everything you see, you believe, which is good. Some people think this is really bad news. Like, I don't know who to believe and I don't know who to trust. So my advice is you trust life itself. You trust the existence of life. That's what you're trusting. You trust love. And because you are love, you trust the love within you, and you share. So it's not that you're depending on or expecting others to fulfill anything for you. What you're doing is you're sourcing yourself and you're pulling from source. So you already have source everywhere around you. Source being nature, higher intelligence, love, people around you that are showing you, positive, feelings and vibration. You pull that towards you and be resourceful. It's like a plant in the soil. The plant is pulling from resources from everywhere, right, to grow. So that's how you take in source energy. It's the same thing.
And so I love this, that you're not saying that, oh yeah, just pretend like Pollyanna. We are aware that there is some heavy stuff going on, and always has, as you mentioned, but we are very strong in our holding that space and realizing that we are pulling from source and pulling from ourself, the source, and the source out in the, you know, the whole universe, inside and
Yeah.
out, inside and out.
Absolutely. And I hear people, you know, that's why I'm taking this opportunity and this platform right now to say this, but I get a lot of comments, and I'll see comments, you know, not a lot, but I see comments here and there that question what we're doing. And they want to know if we're trying to avoid being human. They say things like, you're human, not a starseed, get over it.
Oh, right.
That is the funniest thing I've ever heard. First of all, you have to really accept that you're a human before you're ready to launch into something else. So it's not that we're trying to escape being human. We're just curious about what else there is, because we really get it thoroughly that we're human, and we really thoroughly get we're on Earth. So we really just want to see if there's other things going on. It's like checking the other channels out on your television. You just
I
are
love that, checking the other channels. And we
Yeah.
are a soul first. We're a spirit first. We're just incarnated as a human here now, but we still have connections and past affiliations and lives, and maybe future lives that are all happening in other planets and other timelines and everything. So we it looks like we're human, which we are, and we aren't. We are all things, right?
It's all things. And, you know, people ask, well, how do I find out what my starseed lineage is? And that's a good question, because, you know, I didn't even know how to find out what my starseed was. And it took me some time. So it starts off with, you can look into astrology. You can go seek out a psychic medium or a hypnotherapist. You can also go online and research all the different species that are out there, and you'll resonate with ones that the characteristics are similar to yours. There's a lot of channels that will channel from these star systems. Like, for instance, I think in the 70s, Barbara Marciniak channeled the Pleiadians, and it's a group of Pleiadians came together and channeled this book. And I think it's called Calling of the Dawn, or you might have to correct me. I read it a long time ago, but it is about just, you know, the message.
All right. So you guys, I'm going to tell you how I found out what star system I'm from and connected to, and have been, and still have that starseed DNA. So about 5 years ago, I went to see, have a private session with this amazing woman called Grace Kavanaugh in Los Angeles, and she channels a collective of 12 called Osira. And I had a amazing session, and they said that I have strong ties with Pleiades. Okay, so they had said that. I wrote that down. It's also in my book, The Buddha Made Me Do It. I talk about that in a little bit of the channeling. Then when I did I do shamanic journeys with Oriah's husband Riz, and in one of them, well, in two of them, but one of them, all of a sudden I'm in, because you spend the whole day with Riz and you do a lot of healing and a lot of, you're going deep and all this. All of a sudden I start doing like this light language, like my hands just started doing it, like, and I didn't even control it, or it just started like, it was like doing this. And then they started speaking through me. We are off planet guides, and started speaking through me. And I asked Riz, who is that? And he said, Pleiades. And then the next journey that I did with Riz, they came through again. And then Red Eagle, who channels through Riz, and they do weekly, I'll put all the links to this in the information box, you guys, if you want to come to a circle. But Riz does a circle of light where he channels guides, and Red Eagle has also confirmed that with me. So I've got it from various places. Right. And I just feel, and when that channeling was coming through, and I was so excited, Oriah, because after it happened, there was a circle in Santa Monica, and I saw you there, and I'm like, I was channeling Pleiades. And you were like,
that was so exciting.
And it was so exciting and so beautiful and so incredible that I guess you guys, if anybody's like doubting it, because it does sound pretty fantastical if you haven't looked into this or experienced anything, but it is real. There are beings all over the place, and a lot of them come through us and connect with us and are related to us or know us from eons and eons. So that's how I found out about it.
Myself. I mean, I have other versions of me that are not just Pleiadian too, by the way. Did I don't know if I can mention that right now. So the Pleiadians are that is the first like that's the first line of my lineage. That's the one I feel the most connected to right now in this current timeline. But if I go back into like my soul DNA, I find Syrian, I find Lyra, which is, you know, the originators, the original star seeds that came to the planet when we first, you know, created the human race. And we have a lot of Lyrian in us. So, and that has been depicted on the cave walls and temples in all the ancient cities around the world, especially in Egypt. And you will see the Lyrians. And they're these tall beings, and they have like a cat-like face. And there's different variations, but that's the main one. So yeah, I mean, it's Palladian, but if you feel connected to like Arcturian, or you feel like you could have a little bit of a different lineage, that's also totally possible.
Yes, absolutely. And they told me I was connected with some other ones too, but I'd have to look it up. But yeah, it's so exciting. It's super cool.
People want to know, they're like, what does it do for you? Like, some people say, what do I do now? Now that I know I'm Palladian, what am I supposed to do? And
what do we do? Tell us. What do we do?
What do you do? Actually, you don't do anything. It's kind of fun to just not have to do anything. It's just that, you know, you're kind of more in tune to this part of you that is off planet, or that is bigger, like your oversoul. Like if I tune into my Palladian self, I see two different characters. One is like a Galadriel character, which is all flowy and like light colors, and she's floating, like that kind of very strong energy, but she's very powerful. And there's another one that's more like an elven king, that is a little bit mischievous and a little bit on the little bit rougher side, but he's like this elven king, you know, like from Lord of the Rings. And so I see those two versions, and he's more like a general, you know. And what's really crazy, this is the part that's the craziest, is on my group and different conversations that I've had, people have actually called me that and didn't even know. They've put pictures and little like, this is who you remind me of. And I'm thinking to myself, so you remember me then from back home, basically. Like you're connecting the dots. And you know, it is fantastical for some people to hear this conversation. They would say, oh yeah, these people have like, you know, literally left the planet. Well, we actually have left the planet. We're back to tell you what we see. Okay. So
exactly. And years ago, we really would have been considered wackos. But I think now there's so many. If you go on YouTube, you can see how many people are channeling Pleiades and channeling this person and that person. There's hundreds and hundreds of people doing this on YouTube. And sometimes I think, well, this is really interesting. Who would have thought that one day there'd be all these adults like saying they're channeling, you know, these historical figures or star people or something, and it's completely acceptable. And the comments you see, most people are not saying you're nuts or anything. They're loving it. They're just eating it up.
Well, people have sent me a lot of they want me, you know, because I approve which posts go onto my feed, and there's some posts that they send me that I don't approve, and I want to explain why. But they are prophecies and channeled material from the star system, from the Galactic Federation and all that. And I'll tell you why I don't post it. And I feel bad because I want to post. It's just each channel, when they channel, they're coming with their own, it's like their own filters, right? So you're channeling your own message. So let's say you channel the Pleiadians and you come up with a prophecy, or you're delivered a prophecy for the next 6 months, right? And everybody reads it and is like, oh my gosh, that's what's going to happen. And then let's say 5 other really good channels also channel for what's going to happen in the next 6 months. And what about if they don't line up? Mm-hmm. And that became an issue for me, because I started to see that, you know, they're just getting different interpretations. And so what I learned was, if you just get the gist of it and you get the feeling behind it, the energetic message behind it, which is there's an ascension process happening, there's an awakening on the planet, that type of thing, but take out the timelines, take out the names and locations of things. And that should help you understand how to read these channeled prophecies. There's channeled messages that are just simply for the planet, that are just no timeline, you know, just like a general healing message. That's different. I'm talking prophetic. So that means they're prophesying something is going to happen, or what is actually happening, like in a linear fashion. So I don't allow those on my page, because what's happening is the newer people who are just awakening are getting really confused. They don't,
Yes.
they don't know what's going on. So they asked me, is this what's happening? This is really exciting. Like, look, there's a bunch of UFOs that are en route to Earth right now. Can we post this? Or look, there's a bunch of meteors coming and they're going to annihilate us. Can I post this? I'm like, no, we can't. That's not what this is about. We're about ourself and our own ascension. We are the UFO. We are the light ship. So we're transforming ourselves right now. So that's what we're focused on. It's just a much more focused intent. But I'm glad to clear that little part up about prophecies and channeling. I'm glad you brought that up.
Exactly. And I love how you're just holding the space for everyone to, like you said, ascend and raise our frequency and deal with this. Like I hear all of a sudden my ear, it feels like there's some pressure lost in the ear.
Yes.
And I hear a high ringing, like it's a pressure change. All of a sudden just sitting there, it's like, you
So
know,
you know what that is, right?
what?
That's an attunement. So what you're doing, it's like a little tuning. You're actually getting attuned to different vibrations. As you change, as your system fluctuates and you go into a higher vibratory state, your actual inner hearing, because you're listening from all dimensions, you're tuning in. So it's like a tuning fork. So you're always, and we're electronic beings. So we're made of, like, you know, electricity and nerves and communication. So you're having, your ears are being attuned and tuned into a different vibration, and your pressure chambers within you, because we have pressure in our systems. So our pressure is being also changed. So as you calm down, it'll change. As you work yourself up, it's going to change. So how you go in and out of your influx. So people want to know, I also read in somebody else's group, actually, somebody was very upset that she's had constant ear ringing for 3 months. And she is going crazy. So what I would tell her is to absolutely stop everything and get into nature immediately. If any kind of water, put your feet in the dirt, in the sand, walk barefoot, get in a tub of water, stand under your shower for a period of time, do deep breathing in your hands, slow everything down, put meditation music on, clear your energy, get off of your devices, take a break from the news, 100% like unplug. So that is what I would tell people who are having nonstop ear ringing, which means that the body's trying to adjust and fluctuate, but you are all over the place. So your emotional ranges are so high and low, your body can't even keep up with you. So it's just a constant ringing. So you have to lower everything, calm everything down, deep breathing, things like that.
Yeah. Breath work, which is really good, like holotropic breath work. You can look up on YouTube, cleaning out all that stuff, because we're caffeinated. We're on checking our devices all the time. And I've noticed during this coronavirus that everybody slowed down, and I'm like not so interested to check Instagram or check as much or anything like that. It's just like, I'm just going to work on what I'm working on now. And
right.
It's slowed down. And then I hear that. But sometimes if I say something, people say, well, that's probably tinnitus. But not if it just happens occasionally. If you have it constantly for a year or something, yeah, go check your ears. But if it's coming and going like you're just tuning in, because mine's not tinnitus.
A part of the awakening process is to understand what is actually physiological, like what is self-created from your mind and your spiritual awakening, and what is actually physical, biological. You have to go to the doctor and get it checked. And that takes what's, called discernment. You have to have discernment to find out what is what. So I'll give a few tips on how to separate these two. So the first thing you do is you go talk to that part of your body. So you close your eyes, go find that location where you're having the issue, and ask it what it's doing and why it's doing that. What's the problem first? So that means you are now connecting consciously to that area of your body that is sounding the alarm bells. So that part of your body will respond. It will either say, I need more of this, I need less of this, or I need silence. Because, to heal, a lot of times you need silence. So that's the first line. If it feels like it's not related to an emotional trigger, right? So like you're not, like your knee hurts, right? It's swollen. It could not be related to an emotional trigger. However, the knee represents being flexible and moving forward in life. So you have to know what it represents, right? So then you have to look at that and then say, well, let me handle that part first, see if I could take the pressure off my knee, mental, emotional pressure, moving forward, flexibility, start to remove that pressure from the knee emotionally. So now we're starting to reprogram the body and send healing signals to the cell at the quantum level. So this is the metaphysical part of it. And then once you start doing that, then you start realizing, okay, now what are we dealing with? Is this a chronic thing? Do I need to go to the doctor for this? And if you still feel it is chronic, it is not, there's no adjustments, you've even managed to calm yourself down, you're not panicking anymore, and you've not seen too much improvement, then you can go into Western medicine and alternative medicine, like acupuncture, light therapy, sound therapy, frequencies, and chambers, red light emissions, infrared light, there's so many different things you can do. So then you can start to look in. So it's a process. It's a step-by-step elimination. And you and I, we've experienced a lot of health stuff over the years, right? And we've had to go through this. We've had to go through this process. It's a step-by-step. But the first thing is to take out the panic. That's the biggest part. And that's the hardest part because you get scared.
Well,
and
I'll share. Excuse me. Wow. I'll share something with you guys. Yes. Get a little personal. So okay. I was texting with Oriah, I think a few weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, because I had a pain in my right breast, and it felt like something was in there, like literally somebody like cut me open and dropped a makeup sponge in there and then sewed it back up. Like it was kind of rough, and it was, something was there, and there was burning, and there was just uncomfortableness, heaviness. It was awful. And I started panicking because I had 3 friends who had double mastectomies and on chemo. And, so automatically you think, do I have breast cancer? Oh my God, what's happening? And then Oriah did a little download and told me to do a meditation and all this, which I did. But then at the time though, I had, I'm married to a hot-blooded Latino. So he's very, we're like Ricky and Lucy. So my reactions, he's like, Lucy, you got some splaining to do. And he's, really like the alpha. And I'm like, don't tell me what to do. And my mom is leaving me alone, And there was years of bickering and me, fighting back and making my stance and defending myself. And it was just, and I felt like it was came up to a point where now it was affecting me, and back in my mind, I knew that this was a culmination of those emotions. And then I spoke to Red Eagle when in the circle, when Riz was channeling Red Eagle, the spirit guide. And he says, well, certainly it is, and he said something that switched finally everything, because I was feeling bad. I was feeling like disappointed in myself because I'd been working with Riz for over a year privately, plus doing 2 years of circles, and I still would fall back into those patterns. And then I would say, I was doing all this work, I was doing phenomenal, and then I fell off. And he said, well, that's why it's called a spiritual practice, because you're getting these epiphanies and you're moving forward. But he said this, so you guys listen to this, if you're going through any chaos like this, he said, Marla, you are responsible for your own sanity, and you are responsible for the vibration in your body. Well, after 2 years, this made a click that really got in there, and I was like, oh crap. I felt like I was at the end of the line. And yes, and I did stop drinking coffee, which I think caffeine exasperated it. I did get a ultrasound and a thermography, which showed nothing. They said, you have nothing, but I could feel there was something. And I'm wondering if this one is energetic. Now, It came to me, I just got to download, you guys, that it was an energetic. Yes. But it felt real, but it, because it couldn't show up on a scan. And now, okay, I just want to say, from then on, I have not reacted. I don't react. He could push my buttons because it's all about me. It's about my reactions. He is who he is. He's not perfect. He's got his things working through, pushing my buttons, but I'm not just a willy-nilly reactor going nuts. I'm very calm. Nothing can sway me. I'm grounded. Guess what, you guys? I feel phenomenal. It's gone. The pain's gone. I don't feel anything there.
Oh, good.
A shift within 3 weeks.
You know what the breast represents, right? Is the mother and nurturing. So if you don't have an issue with your mom, you can go into looking into how are you self-nurturing yourself, and are you mothering yourself? And also
Yeah.
which side of the breast. So if it's on the
And it was
right or
right.
left,
And
male
Red Eagle also said that's the feminine and not feeling
and
safe in the relationship and this and that.
vulnerability.
Yeah.
So it's being vulnerable, and it's self-nurturing, and it's intimacy. So it's all everything you just said. So you unraveled the entire picture, and it was energetic. So it was removed.
Yeah.
Or
Or
maybe it was there, and then by the time you got to the doctor, it disappeared. You just never know. It
it
happens to
still
people all the
hurt at the doctor. I still felt it. I felt there's something there, and they said nothing. And then my doctor gets on the phone. He goes, "Yeah," he's like the MD. "Yeah, it's negative. There's nothing there." I'm like, "Well, I feel it is," but I kept working on that level, that energetic level, and I gave myself a lot of Reiki. I calm myself down. I'm perfectly calm, and it's gone. So Oriah's message is perfect. To say that calming ourselves down, calming our nervous systems down, and listening to the body,
right.
what it means underneath, not just what the medical field might say. It's those emotions underneath that.
You know, people are wondering all the time, what does it mean to be still? It's such a foreign concept because it's really not taught. It's not taught to any of us at any time, really. No one is walking around teaching us to learn to be still. They say to meditate, but people are meditating and they're still not still. Their mind is racing. So to be still, if you don't mind, I would like to share, because you're talking about that, the quietness, and to go within. And how, by the way, how can you hear anything if you're rambling on inside? You know, how can you listen into what the body's trying to tell you, and what your ancestors are trying to tell you, and your star seed brother and family, your light family, are trying to tell you? So to be still, it's a practice, but it starts with the body, of course, always. You have to slow the body down. So put your body in a position where it can be still without falling asleep. And forget about the term meditation. Sometimes I use it all the time, but sometimes people get really thrown off by that word because they think they're supposed to be doing something, and they have like a checklist of things they're supposed to do. Now, some people have really fantastic meditative experiences, but I want to get past that. What I'm talking about is a stillness that is silent to the core. So you are silent within your being. You're silent. It's like going into the eye of the storm. You're going into the eye of the needle. You're going right to the center. It's the centrifuge. It's the right in the middle of your crown chakra. It runs all the way down to the root chakra, to your feet, down to the planet. It is your kind of your stabilizing beam. You're going into your center. So no matter if you're on the planet or you're off planet, or it doesn't matter where you are, even after you cross over, you have your center. And so to find that, you have to be still. So to be still requires, yes, breath, and yes, a type of meditative state, but we're going to go way past that too, because it's not just doing the right breath, and it's not just doing the right meditation and hearing the right music. What you're doing is you're literally unplugging from every single type of reality that you know, and you are going to plug it in to silence. So you are going into the mothership. The mothership, and the mother is silence. This is where all creation begins, is in silence. So this is where you want to go for healing. This is where you want to go to reconnect, regroup. Now, here's what happened to me, Marla. I started working on silence, and I got addicted to it because it feels so good, and it's so healing. It's like healing waters, like constantly running through your system and cooling that hot system. We get really worked up, and our system gets overloaded. It's like cooling waters going through. And so I got so addicted that now, because I made a little pact to myself, I said, can I be still even when I'm hanging out with friends, talking to people, working, right? Do I have to go back to the old me? Can I just stay in this state? So it was a challenge for me. I want to see if I could do it. So I did. And I went into stillness, and I began step by step to see if I can get through an hour, get through a day, hanging out with people, going to dinner, talking, being normal, and to see how still I could be on the inside. So you just started talking about that. That's exactly where this goes. And that's where I started to realize this was where all the magic was. because this is where you can get all the information in the universe that you want. It's right there because you're silent enough and quiet enough that you can hear it. You can talk as much as you want. Like right now I'm talking to you and I'm very still on the inside. I'm extremely still. It's like a library, and a library is totally silent.
Well,
It's like that.
what I love about that, and what I found for myself, is years ago I would, how a lot of us have this conversation going on in our mind. Maybe we had a spat with someone or a friend or something, and we're rehashing it in our mind, or somebody at the bank, insulted us or whatever. We feel we're like, what I could have said this, and they said this, and just rehashing. Even you'll see people like talking to themselves, kind of, out. And I used to run a lot of that stuff in my mind, but I notice after years of doing this spiritual work, now I don't have it anymore. And it is really, and I don't try to interrupt people anymore and jump in, but I just interrupted you to get this. No, but how you'll be talking with somebody and then you'll just jump in. And I don't feel the need to do that anymore with people. I can just be very silent, let them finish. And that it's just you're just like coming from this Zen space, but you're very present and energetic, but you're also very calm, like the water's still.
Right. It's very satisfying. So you almost it's like drinking your own Kool-Aid. Like you want to keep drinking it because it tastes so good. So that's why what you just said, that's exactly right. So you don't feel this, there's no urgency. Like you don't feel like you're missing out on anything, or you're losing something, or you're behind. There's no issues with time because you are so centered in stillness that you don't really feel like you're missing out. So when you're not still is when you get manic. So that's what's happening right now on the planet. A lot of people are very manic. So part of this ascension and awakening process is you'll eventually get to this part where you try a lot of modalities. You do yoga, meditation, you do so many things, and Reiki and all this, and then you start to get quieter, 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 quieter. You start bringing the machinery down into a silent zone. So it's no longer running so loud in your head, your thoughts going nonstop, right? So it's a stage for people who feel conflicted and they're so concerned because their mind won't shut off. I want to just let you know we've all been through that. So don't worry, you're not alone, and you can get out of that. And it's a step-by-step process. You have to go slow. Don't be hard on yourself. This is not a whip the machine into submission in the avatar. It's a gentle knowing, and it's a gentle growing, a blossoming, a revealing. You slowly go into it. It's like a plant growing. And, you look at the world right now and it looks like things are going really fast, and you feel like you have to hurry up and rush and have this ascension. You have to hurry up and get there. You have to get all the information as fast as possible. That's exactly the opposite of what you need to be doing. It's actually reverting back into the silent, innocent, beautiful self that you are from childhood, where you observe and you take in and you are at peace and you relax and you enjoy. I get information this morning. I did my normal check-in with the world to see what everyone's doing. And as an empath, of course, I feel all the pain and I feel what everybody's going through. And I gave myself 10 minutes to go into it fully. And I just went in and I felt all the pain. And I felt the chaos and the hurt and the anger and the wars between people. And I just let myself feel it because that's why I'm on the planet. I'm not trying to avoid anything. So I felt it all. And then when I was finished, I said, okay, that's it. You're done. That's all you need. You understand what's happening. Now move on for your day, your creativity, your communication, and everything that you're doing on the planet. So if there's more of us, people that are creating good feeling things, imagine if you have millions of us all providing, we're putting it in the pot. Like Marla, you're writing a book right now, right? Mm-hmm. And I have my little group, and everybody has their little contribution, and you put it in the pot. You just send it out into the airwaves. You send it into social media. You send it into however you want to get there. You share your gifts and your love with the world, and slowly you'll start to see the water start calming as time goes on. It will happen. Don't give up. Just like cleaning out a room. Don't give up on humanity. Don't give up on the earth. Don't give up on love. It has nothing to do with that. You're just getting a new perspective.
Yes, and Red Eagle had spoken. They give talks now on COVID and what's going on, and because there's some people who will say, well, you know, you shouldn't make money while other people have lost their jobs, or you shouldn't be doing this, or you shouldn't be having fun, you shouldn't be joyful, because
Oh, that's a good point.
and just speak to that a little bit, because he
Thank
was,
you.
you know,
That's
saying,
very important.
that's not us. Like, there's these things like, you can't there, I've heard this quote for years: you can't be poor enough to feed, you know, to help all the people starving in Africa or wherever. You know, you can't be poor enough to,
Right.
you know, change their situation. So coming from a place of abundance and joy is where we can help. So
So this is how, I'm so glad you brought that up. That's such an important point. How I see it is like a watering hole. So all animals need to go to the watering hole. In every natural system, water provides relief, right? So the plants need water, animals need water, we need water. Water is so important. So you go to the watering hole, you drink. In that moment when you're drinking, you're replenishing your system and you're helping yourself feel better, and it keeps you alive, basically, right? Okay, so what we're doing when it looks like we're having fun during a very challenging time, what we're doing is we are in our watering hole and we're providing water for everyone else. So there's high consciousness going on here. This is not a flippant or a disregard, or in like you are putting a wall and you don't want to see what's happening. It's the opposite, because we see what's happening, and that's why we know what we can give the public. What we can provide is so important. So if we can provide happiness, joy, love, support, tarot readings, psychic readings, Reiki, any type of healing work, like anything that you can provide, and it looks like you're having fun, do you know, actually it subconsciously will send that message through to the people who are suffering and really upset, because they're going to say, well, they are having fun. I may not know exactly how they got there, but they are. So technically not everybody is suffering in hell. So maybe there is an out. And some of us have taken it upon ourselves, I'm one of them, that decided to build a bridge over to those people who have no idea why I'm having fun or how I'm having fun and how I got here. So those people, I send them this little flare and I say, follow this flare and I'm going to walk you through and I will show you exactly why I'm having fun. And then there's others that just create really fun environments. And then they invite everybody to come play with them. And that's fun too. Dance parties and online cool stuff that you can go do. So, you know, you're not supposed to be in the war zone every single day. That's not why you came to the planet. You're not being punished. There's no real reason why you have to sit for 20 hours a week absorbing this really crude oil. This is crude material. You're getting kind of like the crud at the top of, like, you know, when you're cleaning out a sewer system in a way. I hate to use that analogy, but like there's like this crud that is coming down, floating down the river. You don't need to wallow in it. You could observe it. You could take notes. You could do your mathematical equations. You could do your research. You could even get involved politically. If you want, you can write your letters. You could do everything you want, but you don't have to take it in. You don't have to eat it and drink it and bring it home to your family and then share it with your children, because don't you want to teach your children a different way to live? And that's what we're trying to do with our generation underneath us, right? We're trying to teach them to do it differently than how we did it. And look at what our kids are going through right now. They are like, are you kidding me right now? But there's other kids that are like, this is exactly what I thought was going along anyway. Like, I'm not surprised with anything that's happening, because kids are so smart and they see through so much. So this has been, personally, it's going to sound weird to some people, but if you're following along, maybe it'll make sense. This has been the happiest time of my life, is during what's been going on since December. I have really finally felt that I'm home, because I didn't know what was going on this planet for 35 years, 40 years. I was like, what is happening? This is the most upside down system I've ever seen. Everything is backwards and upside down. How come it's like this here? I was so confused. I was constantly in a state of confusion. And a lot of us felt that way. I'm not alone in feeling that. And we were all very like wondering why the planet is so, it's not evolved at all. Like what's happening? When this happened, this whole experience, I was like, oh, finally, this is why I came here. I came here to witness this and be a part of this so I can help. Now I get it. Now I understand. Oh, yeah, this is exactly what needed to happen. This is the exact thing that needed to happen on this planet so that we can all get a grip and get an understanding of the part we play and the power we have as a voice of the people and as a collective, how we create and manifest everything from the physical things that you're seeing right now to the energetic frequencies that are going out, the conversation we're all having internally. You know, this is the time we're all starting to stretch out and reach out and starting to know that there's more. I mean, this is it. So I've never been so happy. I've totally changed. My whole being has changed. I'm like stepping into my home ship. Like I'm home. Like I brought the Pleiadians here. Like I feel like I morphed both the Pleiades and Earth together and all the other star systems. Like I'm one in the middle of it because I'm finally relieved that we're now finally doing something about what's been broken for so long.
Yeah, it's brought out, it's for me too. It's been my biggest healing, my biggest realizations and all of this time. And Red Eagle had also mentioned in one of the talks that this virus is personally for each person. It's not like what's happening collectively. We have to look at it like, what is it teaching me? So me, it really taught me a lot about relationships and my emotional reactions. For somebody else, it may be finances because maybe they didn't have savings and now they're completely, decimated with this. Or for someone else, it could be about health. So we can take that and really learn from it. And so many people, I think, have been sharing that it's been just a phenomenal awakening for themselves. And I want to ask you, because I'm a matchmaker, the mystical matchmaker, also calming down. I work the psychic hotline, so that's something that I've been loving. And there's a lot of people calling, in a lot of deep emotional anguish. Maybe their partners have cheated on them, or they've lost their job, or it's really more coaching, but with a mystical side, throwing some cards. But a lot of it is women calling about relationships, wondering if their ex who cheated on them is going to come back, wondering if their ex is still thinking about them, wondering what this guy thinks, and looking outside, waiting for somebody else to decide if they're going to be with them or decide how their life's going to go or decide. And that calming down, I noticed also, I think if people can get to that calm point, they're not going to be frantic to wonder what somebody else is going to do. So just speak a little bit about dating and relationships, because
that's a big topic. So
taste there that
yeah, self-ownership, that's where it comes down to. I mean, whether you're looking for your twin flame or your soulmate, I'm married to my twin flame and I've been married 5 times. And my current relationship, my twin flame, I've been with him for 10 years. And I will say to you that the entire process of what I've experienced is about, in the self-discovery, is about self-ownership. It was about, can I be with myself? It's not, can I be with that person? Look, it's really great if you can find somebody that can match you. If you can find somebody that you're on the same page with, you have scored. That's a big deal. Just to find somebody who can at least line up with you and match you to some degree where you can continue moving forward, that to me is successful. Now, as far as them taking care of your every need, that's something else entirely, because what you have to realize is that person also has their list of needs and things that they are going through. And are you willing to do that for them? So that's like the big question, because people are like, well, they're not meeting my needs. And then you're like, okay, well, are you meeting theirs? Nobody wants to talk about that side of it. So,
and are you meeting your own?
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. That's the very next thing. So when you realize that you're not going to be able to drain your partner dry with them having to take care of you all the time, you have to learn to start to take care of yourself. The beauty of being in partnership is that you have somebody to do it with. So you get to be in the sandbox with somebody who's going to help you to take care of yourself. That's it. There's no other formula.
And you brought up something interesting I just want to touch on before we go is people get hung up on, they'll ask me that too, but this is my soulmate, this is my twin flame. And a twin flame also, it's funny because Red Eagle told me my husband's my twin flame, but the twin flame, I think it could also really push you, because he said, oh, a twin flame, sometimes it's somebody you want to kill, and sometimes it does happen. People kill their twin because it could be a very tumultuous relationship.
You're dealing with your mirror image of yourself. So basically, imagine you're dating yourself. Okay, on the good side, you get all the best qualities of you, which is fantastic. On the darker side, or the more negative side, you're also dealing with all your unresolved issues, all the parts of you that are, not self-realized yet, everything that needs a lot of TLC. You're still, you're looking at that version. So like for my husband, I see things that he says and does that I used to say and do. And maybe some of it I've cleared and some of it I still am doing. And those things trigger me to no end. Now, not as much anymore, but I would get so worked up because I couldn't understand how I was looking at myself. So it's soulmate. I don't have that experience with a soulmate. Soulmates are much more activators. They're just like, they challenge you, they get you worked up, and you really want to do something with yourself, whether you want to stay with them or leave, it activates you. Twin flames are, it's almost like after the activation has begun, they join you. And it's kind of like you do the rest together. It's like you're going to do the rest of the class together. So it can be very frustrating if you are not aware that this is a self-realization journey you both signed up for. And that's why you're together, is because you came to complete the picture and finish off the rest of your journey, so you can be self-realized to the degree that you both want to be. And it's nice to help each other and be in it together. But I give my husband a lot of freedom, and he gives me a lot of freedom. We're very, very independent, and we're very in sync, but we understand how much space we all need to create and grow separately. So I am not breathing down his neck. There's been times I've done that. I've had spaces where I've done that. And that's because I was going through some major insecurities and tantrums, and I needed a lot of attention. And I forced him to stop everything he's doing so that he focused on me and heal me and help me. But that's a stage. And so that stage is thankfully I've moved on past that. But now we're at a stage where there's a symbiotic exchange. So we're just peacefully exchanging information, and we're just in flow. It's like tandem bike riding.
And you guys it's so amazing to be with you're both healers but to be with somebody like that, who's just, it's not very many people have that experience. It's somebody who can, channel some information to you and do some powerful healing and shamanic work. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, in the beginning, there was pros and cons to that, because I came into the relationship a trauma life coach. I was already working with clients, and I came in with very strong beliefs and very strong, had been through a lot, and I really didn't need anything or anyone, or especially a man. And I was very independent, and I had 5 children, and I was like, I don't really need any information you're going to give me, that kind of person. And then when he came in, he had a lot of information, and he was helping people and healing people already. So we had like these 2 powerhouses come together, and imagine, that's not easy, because no one is going to back down. Not one of, like, he worked too hard to get to where he is, and so did I. So neither one of us was willing to compromise. And so in the beginning, it was really rough. We had some really, really awesome, beautiful moments that we cherish. But let me tell you, it was hardcore, because we were trying to learn how to live together and speak peacefully and work peacefully. Thank God we both have this play. That's the one thing we have in common, is we really love to play and have a good time and have fun. And I finally found somebody who I can play with. And that was really, really important to me, because you can find anybody to fight with, right?
Yeah. And this speaks to how that connection, that soul connection that you needed to be together to learn, because a lot of people just say, screw it, and split up because we have a 52% divorce rate or whatever. A lot of people don't.
Right.
go through all that work and come out, better. But I think that the people need to loosen up on worrying about trying to find their soulmate or figure out is that their twin flame or soulmate. Just like you said, finding a person that gets you and stuff is hard enough. So if you have a good relationship, you find somebody
word lighten up.
That, right?
You said the word lighten up, and that's the key phrase. If you're uptight and holding tight and hoping to find your partner, you might as well just put an invisible block in front of you where no one can see you, because nobody wants to get into a relationship with somebody who is uptight, tense, and can't play. Would you want to be with somebody like that? No. So when you start worrying, like, I'm never going to find the right one, where are they? You push people away. That is the last thing people want to feel, that energy. So the best way, you see people who are in partnership, people who have no problems getting into marriages, it's not necessarily how they look or they act or how they dress. That has some part to do with it. But it's really about how fun they are and how much play. So here I am, a single mom with 5 kids. No one in their right mind is ever going to really date somebody like that unless, yes, I can take into account they were attracted to me or something. But what about if I had a bad attitude? What about if I was a what do they call it? Ball buster. What about if I was hard to live with? Then there's not going to be any relationship. So the reason why I felt like I had no problem getting into a relationship is because I was relaxed. And the reason I was relaxed is because I wasn't dependent on the other person so much to fulfill my every need. So it was about me taking care of me and my children. And then the partner would see me and go, oh, I want to have fun. That looks fun. I want to join in. So if you want to take advantage of like Marla's talents in matchmaking, the best way is to relax, have fun, enjoy yourself, maybe go change your look or do something different. But it's really to release. You need to make room for the other person to come in. Open arms. You need to have them join you. Like a teddy bear. If you're going to hand a teddy bear to somebody as a gift, are you going to give them a very stiff and hard teddy bear that you can't play with? Maybe to put on the mantle, but do you want one that you can squish and hold and say, oh my God, this is such a yummy teddy bear. I love it. And so that's what you want. That feeling is what you want to bring to people. And you will see how fast you will attract a partner. You will attract a partner so quick you wouldn't even believe it. The more you show your heart, the more you show who you are and you open your arms, people will just be drawn to you. They just want to know more. They want to go to your watering hole. So you have to be clear why you're not receiving new partnerships, or when you go on a date, you're not receiving the other person with your judgments and blah, blah, blah. And you have to go through the checklist to make sure they're the perfect person. You know how many people I know have a checklist and they got the guy they wanted or the girl they wanted. I've met people like this. They did it. And they're so unhappy because they got the picture perfect, everything. All the boxes were checked. How could it be that they're not perfect? And that's what happened. It's just because it was just about the things, and it was about the surface, and it was about the structure. They would say things like, have to have a sense of humor. But what about if you don't like their humor? What about if they're funny to other people but not you? So it's not really about this like grand list. It's about you connecting to who you are for yourself and having fun with yourself in the process of learning how to play with others.
Exactly. So I just want to let the ladies know out there, if you're even a single mom, look, Oriah had 5 children, but she was in that space where she was not expecting someone else to take care of her emotional needs and all this. She was high frequency. She'd worked on herself, and her children were a blessing, not a burden for somebody. It was, came into this beautiful co-creation of a relationship, and it was just amazing. So
and he had no kids, and he wanted to have his child and do the whole thing, and he came in just like an onslaught with 5 children. Can you imagine?
And it's beautiful, and he loves being a stepdad, and
oh my gosh,
they're amazing, and it's just an amazing family. And beautiful.
It's a great love affair for everyone.
Oh, and then now there's a wonderful dog in the
oh my gosh, my golden retriever. Yeah, we've been
trying. No, honey. No, his name is
Sugar.
Sugar.
Yeah, we have actually been trying to have a baby for years, and we've been doing IVF after IVF after IVF, and it hasn't been working, and that was so hard. So I had to get myself a dog.
Oh, well,
And
dogs bring a lot of love.
it's been like having a kid, literally. So I feel like that empty nest syndrome is not so bad. My youngest child is 14. My oldest is 28. So they're pretty much gone. Like they're adults. Like they're on their
Yeah,
own.
14. I don't have, what? Parents? I don't have
Mom? Wait,
parents.
yeah, like she has no idea like what a mom is right now. She doesn't even like, when she needs it, she asks for it. When she needs mom, she's all about it. But when she's on her own, that's it. It's her and her friends. So
Beautiful. So before I let you go, I'm going to put all the links below, but what's the name of your Facebook group? How do you help people?
United Starseed Connections. And you can find me on Facebook. And I don't have a website because right now I just really don't feel like I need one. I have other websites that are for my coaching and everything, but really what I'm doing is focusing in on this Facebook group because this is where I'm putting all my time and energy. So if you want to find me, just go to Facebook and just look up United Starseed Connections and you'll find me.
Phenomenal.
And just join us.
Thank you, Oriah, for joining me on Cosmic Conversations, and I'm sure the conversation will continue. And you guys, leave some comments below. Are you a starseed? Do you know what planet you're connected to or from? Tell us your experiences with that. Are you ascending? Do you have ringing in your ears? We want to hear all about it. And if you're single, what is your experience in finding your soulmate? Do you have a block? Are you relaxing? Let us know. So we can't wait to continue the conversation in the comments below. Much love, everybody.
Bye.
Yay.